So let's head to Spurs, shall we? They play Southampton tonight at 6 o'clock. It's live on talkSPORT. I mean, it is a drive show, but Goffey's being subbed off at half-time. I'm being dragged off after an hour. And then we've got live commentary of Spurs Southampton with this man, Sam Matterface, who's outside the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So what exactly is going on out there, and what are we expecting outside the stadium tonight, Sam?
Well, I think as you've already said, Adrian, we're expecting some sort of protest from a few members of the Tottenham Hotspur support a little bit later on. Although I've had a good walk around the whole stadium since I've been here for about an hour now, just mingling with some of the supporters, and I haven't seen any sign of a protest just yet. I just wonder whether or not the swiftness of the developments that we've encountered over the last 24 hours may well have just quelled any protest that we might see tonight. We still might see some protest against ENIC or Daniel Levy, because if you've been following social media today, you'll know that those two hashtags have very much been trending. The Spurs supporters, like everybody else, unhappy with the way that their owners have gone about their business. And it's been a triumph for fan support, for media backlash, for broadcasters who have had the license to come out and speak over the last 72, 96 hours. But ultimately, the people that are being affected most by any decisions that are made by football clubs are the supporters. And they've had to undergo a bit of trauma here in the last few days, haven't they? Because they've also lost Jose Mourinho 6 days before a cup final.
When it comes down to it, though, Sam, I reckon there might not be as much demonstrating tonight because they're quite happy, but the Mourinho's gone.
Well, look, there's no doubt that the way that Jose Mourinho conducted himself in the last few months of his reign were not to the liking of many Tottenham supporters. But only Manchester United, Manchester City and Liverpool picked up more points during the time that Jose Mourinho was the Tottenham Hotspur manager in the Premier League. So arguably, he will tell you, statistically, he's the fourth best manager over that period. The problem is from those heady days in November when they were top of the league, they were riding high, and people, even on talkSPORT, were tipping them to lead the Premier League and possibly challenge for the title. They've nosedived. The football's become more pragmatic. Caution has slipped in because basically they can't keep a lead. They are the worst team in the division for letting goals in the last 10 minutes of games. And that has been incredibly costly. It's seen them slide down the division. But they're still within touching distance of the top four. They've got a Carabao Cup final. You're Daniel Levy. When you tried to come out and convince the Tottenham public, who was sceptical about the appointment of Jose Mourinho at the beginning, that you should embrace this guy because we are going to see him bring us success. He's going to be the one that takes us over the line, that brings us silverware. Why on earth would you abandon that project just 6 days before he has the option to do it? What it tells you is Daniel Levy didn't believe in it in the first place.
Yeah, it does seem crazy when you look at it like that. Very, very quickly, by the way, Southampton are rubbish as well, so it's a great opportunity for Ryan Mason. Is he likely to go with his former teammate, Dele Alli? Any word on the team news?
He's definitely going to go with a couple of his former teammates, Adrian. He played with 10 of the members of the squad. In fact, it wouldn't be a surprise to me if there were a few surprises as far as Tottenham are concerned, especially in that midfield area, like you mentioned, Dele Alli, Harry Winks, players that he has got a relationship with that have been left out in the cold by Jose Mourinho. What we have to remember is that they do have a cup final on Sunday, so there will be no risk taken in terms of fitness. And you're right to mention Southampton. They're the worst team in the division in 2021. Even Sheffield United have got more points.
Sam, thanks very much. We'll speak to you inside the stadium a little bit later on for Southampton to have an FA Cup semi-final and not have a shot on target with Danny Ings up front. That, to me, is a sackable offence. So let's see what they do tonight. It's live on talkSPORT from 6, Spurs against Southampton. Phil's a Chelsea fan. How you doing, Phil?
Hello, Adrian. Hello, Goffey. How you doing?
Yeah, we good, mate.
So much I want to say, and I haven't got a lot of time to say it, but first of all, we're so proud. I punched the air last night. It's great to be a fan. Not just a Chelsea fan, but this is the fans, north, south, east and west, all around the country, and we're going to do it again if it happens. I'd like to say a big thank you to that, but another big thank you that's been forgotten, for the media, for people like you that give us a voice so that we can say this, because without you, we were nothing, really. And a big thank you to you and all the presenters on talkSPORT. We've been able to say it over the air. We stood outside Stamford Bridge last night. Better check. That should go around the world, that viral, what he did. We moved out the way because it was Brighton. wondering if we'd have moved out of the way if we were playing City or United or Tottenham or Liverpool. You know, it makes me wonder. They're saying about getting rid of Bruce Buck. All right, fair enough. But doesn't it also mean Mr. Abromavich as well? We're not going to hear from him himself. We never do. But he should have the decency to come out and apologise for once in his life, to actually say sorry.
You're probably right, Phil. And I think this there's a narrative, isn't there? Just going back to the Man City thing, the same's being said about Chelsea, that they jumped in at the end because they felt they had no choice, or they were dragged along with it.
You always got a choice.
Sheikh Mansour and Roman Abramovich were dragged into something.
Never bowed down to anyone, yet they were dragged into joining the European Super League by signing a form.
Listen, it was a great call, Phil. Thank you very much for that. And listen, talkSPORT is here for you, the fans, and thankfully we have had so many fans, really articulate and eloquent and passionate with their protests against this European Super League idea over the last couple of days, and it's really hit home. This is talkSPORT.